Good morning. Welcome back. Today is a great day. It's Saturday and it is Stamp Saturday. Gonna try something a little different today, you guys. I've got a story to tell. I have been challenged by my friend Jovi to talk about how I got my channel name. So while I'm making this stamp, we are going to talk about that. Now, let's see. I wanted to make a fern today, but being not a very big artist and all, I am thinking how I'm going to make this fern because Tanya's got to draw it. And I'm not sure how. So we're just going to start with some little sprouts here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. We like to do things in odd numbers. That would be, they're all crossing in the middle, and ferns don't do that, do they? Let's do another going this way. And this one can come that way. How about that? Does that work? So we'll start at the beginning. How did I get my name, my channel name? As I'm making this fern, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to block out the shape of the fern without having to draw the individual leaves, because the leaves would be too time consuming to draw each one, and we all know that I'm not going to be able to probably make it happen just the way I draw it, so that would be just a waste of time for me. So let's just kind of draw the shape, and that way I can kind of fit them in. So story time. How did I get my name? Let's see. I'm going to start way back when I was little, because this is going to take me a little while to make this stamp anyway. I think I'm going to bring this branch over this way. So as a kid, I was brought up in a split home. And at Mom's house, it was just Mom taking care of her 2 kids. I have a biological brother. And at Dad's house, I have biological brother, stepbrother, and stepsister. So there were 4 of us. And we were all within 23 months of each other. So that's a pretty big bunch if you think about it. And so I had 2 very different homes. And I'm going to start this really easy. Okay, I'm going to get back to my story in just a second. So when you're making these stamps, you want to make sure that anything you want colored is going to be up at the top, because that's the part that's going to touch your paper. So any detail that you don't care if it has color or don't want it to have color, then you would dig that part out. So I'm debating this vein that goes into the middle of the fern leaf, if I should dig that out, because the leaves I want colored. So I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to shape them out first before I get the detail. So if you see me pausing in between, it's because I'm really thinking about how that needs to go. So anyway, I had 2 households and that I was raised in. Oops. I got to recenter. You see my tape? I wanted to make sure that I kept my block in the middle of my tape. I think I can come down just a little. 2 households. So at Dad's house, Dad worked, and he would take on odd jobs if they came up. And my stepmom stayed home, but she did like home interiors. She babysat. She always had something, a way to help out the household. And of course, took care of all 4 of us kids, which was not always easy. So they always did what they could to, to provide for us. And then Mom's house, she worked the same way, odd jobs if she could. She had a full-time job, and she took care of us kids that way. So I grew up with a very strong examples of work ethic. And I'm very thankful for that, by the way. And so as I raised my kids by myself, through circumstances I'm not going to talk about, and some things need to be private, right? As I raised my 3 kids by myself, I had that work ethic in me and would take on odd jobs and find different ways to make extra money to help support my kids and give them the life that they deserved. So, I was going to make this a really long story, but I feel like I'd just be wasting time if I did. So in doing such, I always had a side gig. What? Yep, I always had a side gig. So that being said, when crafting came along and I started making tumblers, I thought, well, what am I going to call this? I wanted to start this business, and what am I going to call it? I thought, well, it is my side gig. And I didn't want to stick to just tumblers because I know myself. And, now I might be doing paper crafts. I was doing, tumblers at the time that I started this name. But there's also time when I was crocheting or making cards or making pins or whatever. So I didn't want to limit myself by the name. So I called myself Sidegigcrafts. That way I had the freedom to change up my craft. Yep. And I wouldn't have to change my name each time, so you guys would know who I was. So that is how I got my name. And you're welcome. I shortened that story by about half an hour because I kept going back and forth. Oh, I could extend this. I could make this story really long. I could make people really want to watch this, get excited, and find out why I picked that name. Because I did it that way. And, I have to credit my parents for teaching me to find different ways to, find different ways to help support my family. I love crafting. I love art. I have a deep appreciation for it. I've got so many people, family members, immediate family, aunts, uncles, cousins, who are so incredibly talented. And it's just kind of a family thing to do crafts and use our hands. And I'm blessed that way. Totally. And I love being able to use that craft to teach others, to encourage others, to share what I have. And, some people who don't craft, I love to be able to gift things to them. And there we go. That's better. So what I'm doing, I'm just digging out the areas in between right now to try to start creating some of the backspace. And I'll go in and start shaving away some of the leaves and such. But if I can get the chunks out, then it's just going to be about the details at this point. Usually I kind of go about it a little bit differently, but I think with this one, I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to do these leaves. I'm going to practice down here just a little bit first, but I like to take away some of the excess so that I know exactly what I'm working with. So the outline actually really helps me to do that. I hope I made these wide enough that I can chunk that stuff out. I think I did. So I hope that's not too big of a letdown how I got my name. Jovi had challenged me with that, and I forgot about it until last night. I was looking through some of my pages and some of the things I'd saved. I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't done that yet, and I said I would. So I wanted to make sure I talked about it. And what better way than Stamp Saturday? I know my stamping videos, creating these stamps, these videos aren't watched as much as some of my others, and that's okay. I love doing it. You know, I do a lot of the things that I do because I enjoy it. I figure there's going to be some other people that enjoy watching it, and y'all seem to like the longer video better than the shortened version, so I thought let's tell the story while I'm doing it. Why not? Oops. Just chunk some of that away. I'm going to cut these corners off anyway, so I don't have to be too worried about that part. And I hope this turns out looking sort of at least like a fern. If not, then oh well. Then you'll see that they're not always perfect. Of course, they're never perfect. That's the whole idea. It's kind of why I like making them, is because they're not perfect. I had actually thought about, well, maybe I need a different tool. Maybe, you know, maybe we could mass make these things or something. But I don't know. I kind of like the imperfect, fun, individual, unique stamp idea. Because no one else will have a stamp just like this one. In fact, I couldn't make this one again. I wouldn't be able to. It would be different. Somehow it would be different. Just hopefully I'll be confident eventually to share these. Maybe on Etsy or something, or sell them on Instagram. Is that the name I'm thinking? Kind of in my head. So normal words aren't coming to me. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Come up. Why is that? Why did that go back down there? There we go. But I do enjoy making these. I haven't been making them very long. I know some of you are new to my channel. I haven't been making them very long. It's kind of a new craft. My daughter, the story for this, my daughter went to art school and they learned how to make these stamps, and I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I'm not great at drawing, this I know. I'm not that sort of an artist, but I just thought it looked like so much fun to be able to make my own stamps, and why not, you know? So I went ahead and researched a little with her help and got the products that I have, which is just, you know, these rubber blocks and this cutting tool. And that's all you need. And just started trying it. So I drew something, and you know, the carving doesn't actually end up looking much like the drawing in my experience, because it just takes a little bit different, you know, it ends up looking different. So I want to make these leaves. Well, see, the interesting part is I'm going to have to go around the leaves. This tool's not going to work at all. It's going to have to be the smaller one, I think. So I'm going to have to kind of just chunk in, I think, and just do that around. Oh, here goes nothing. All right, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the vein of the leaf out. Here goes nothing. Take the vein out. And I'm going to have to also divide these. So this, well, I guess the leaves will divide it. I don't need to do that. Because when we look at the fern, the leaves come up on either side of that vein. So they will show the definition of that. I don't need to do it myself, but I do want this vein out. We're just going to hint at the separation. See, like for here, for instance, this one comes around this way. This one comes this way. So in a lot of the stamps I would define this line, but I won't need to, because as I'm chunking in here, I can make sure that those chunks come in and actually divide it. So we're going to put a vein right in here to allow for that. Boop. Okay. And then this one, kind of the same story. Did I get them all? And then this one. All right, I think we're off to a good start. I meant to chunk that out too, but here, let's get back to that. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to come back and start these. Let me finish doing that part. Did I get that in there? I think so. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get some of this out of my way because I need to. It's shouting at me, stop. I'm going to chunk this part off. And I'm going to chunk this part off. Oops, I'm sorry if I was out of frame. I realize I put that tape there for a reason. Help me stay in place. Okay, and let's go this way. I think I'm going to leave this base on here. I am going to do this though. Just kind of go around the edges. This kind of makes those edges a little softer. It'll reduce the tearing of the rubber, and it'll kind of thin out the lines a little bit, kind of taper them out. I've got a leaf right there, so I don't want to go too crazy. Okay, now let's get this mess out of here. Let's get to business. All right, I don't know how this is going to turn out. We'll see. So far I'm liking it. Tell me why my straw keeps floating to the top of the cup today. Okay. Here we go. You guys remember that song? Here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Lie. Here we go, Looby Loo on a Saturday night. I can't remember the rest of it. Does anybody remember the rest of it? What? I feel like if I just dig out around this, I think it might look more like a feather, but I'm gonna... I don't know. I feel like this thing is bending. Is it bending? Maybe not. Maybe it's always like that. Maybe I need to go this way. I'm curious to see what this looks like. I may stamp off right now just to see what that looks like. I'm going to finish this leaf real quick and see, because if it's not going right, I don't want to do the others the same way. I'd rather get in there and make adjustments. Oh, that's weak that way. I need to go back this way, I think. It's kind of, I think because I'm putting the lines in the way that I am, and I think it's kind of pushing a little bit, so it's not quite right. This doesn't feel right. Now, normally I would wait and stamp up at the very end to get that surprise, but I think for this one, I think it might be important to go ahead and do it. To do it now. Just so we don't go through the whole thing and do it wrong. Okay. Where is... This will work. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this off on this one. I'm actually liking what I see so far. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit rustic, but I like it. I like it. I think it's fun. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's keep working. I think we'll keep going this way. I think if I do it again, I would make these fatter. Give myself a little more room to work, I think. I don't like the way it's tearing that way, though. But this stamping it off like this also helps me because I can see where I need to cut and what edges actually touch the ink and the paper. So it's kind of a cool cool thing. So if you're not quite sure what's going to be touching the paper, you can stamp it and you'll see exactly what surfaces are going to be doing that. Let's go ahead and just claim this stem. There we go. And this one's going to be over the top of that one. So this one's going to need to be Am I going out of my box again? I am. Look, it's loosening up again. Hi, Gretchen. Good morning. Good morning, my puppy. I knew it. I knew it wasn't tight in there. Felt like it was bending. It wasn't, but it was loose. Where? There. That's better. I think I'll get some better results with that. Oops, if I don't dig in too deep. Gotta be careful not to dig in too deep, because then you're just going to the center and you're just, honestly, you're just trying to scrape off the top. So if this looks like fun to you, it is. And it's nice to have your own, I kind of went crazy on these little fronds. I went the wrong way. It's fun to have your own stamps, that's for sure. It's fun to make them for friends. I've been able to give some of them away, which is nice. And yeah, should give it a try. That's all. If it looks like fun, it probably will be. You could make, even if you don't want to make like actual themes, you could do like an abstract art stamp would be fun. Make a background stamp so that you'd have a cool design for the backgrounds of your crafts or your journal pages. That's always fun. Make circles or squares. You can make a graph design. You can make whatever your heart can think of. There we go. That's kind of fun. All right. I don't know if I like this one. All right, let's see if we can go this way. Try not to cut myself. I've done pretty well with that. I haven't cut myself with this tool yet. As I say that, I'll probably will today, because, you know, what happens when you're talking about something is you usually end up making it happen. Let's hope not. Loosening up again. All right, let's go with this one. It's looking like a hot mess. What do you guys think? I don't know if I'm going to like this one. Trust the process. Keep going. Keep going. Keep swimming. Keep swimming. I was just thinking, wouldn't that be funny if I got a copyright ding for singing that song, you know, with Dory? But it's like my singing is so bad, I don't know how it could possibly. Oops, this one's gonna go this way. Are we there yet? This is kind of why I shorten up these videos sometimes, because it's like it seems like I get a little fussy. And not sure how much fun that is to watch. But who knows? Maybe it is. This is about the most dilapidated fern I've ever seen in my life. I tried, you guys. I really did. Wait, let's go. That's because that's that leaf right there, which should be going this way. I don't think it's turning out nearly the way I wanted it to. Not sure I'm mad about that yet. You know, we'll see when it stamps off. I don't think I'll be mad, but, you know, definitely probably not one I will share. I had the weirdest dream last night, you guys. I can't tell you about it because it's really weird, but it's kind of thrown me off a little bit today. Throws me off. I can tell you the cool part about it. It wasn't a bad dream. It was just weird. The cool part about it was we had, I don't know who we is, but there were more than just me. There were other people there. It wasn't my kids. It was, I don't know who it was, but they were part of, I mean, they were whoever. And we moved into this house near the beach. I know why this story came up. I'll explain that in a minute. We moved to a house near the beach, and from my bedroom, and it was a really cool old house. And I'll explain where that came from too. I know where that came from. And from my bedroom, the way that it was situated, it was all surrounded by glass windows. We hadn't realized that we were that close to the beach. And I could actually see when the tide came in at night, you know, when it rose, it came all the way up almost to hit the house on the walls of my bedroom, and the walls were all glass. And I was like wondering, it's like, am I in danger here? But then it was really, really cool to be able to, you know, lay in bed and watch the ocean. And the house was so cool. It had all kinds of really cool old stuff in it, and that somebody had left behind, which was neat. And so I was kind of going through some of those things and finding out what I liked, and you know, just having fun sorting through it and stuff. And I know that story came from, the old house part came from a video I was watching before bed. And it was just so neat to me. I just don't understand I was watching a YouTuber, and they were walking through these homes that were like frozen in time. People just walked away. You know, these are really old homes, and like the last inhabitants were in the 80s, which I realize now, it's like, whoa, that's a long time for a house to be empty. You know, it doesn't seem like so long ago for some of us, but That's a long time for a house to be sitting empty. And I was noticing like the plates and the dishes and everything still on the table, like they just got up in the middle of dinner and left. Why? I don't understand. And everything was just the way, well, there were people that had gone in and rummaged through and stuff like that. You could tell. But for the most part, everything was left as they had left it. Some of the beds were made. It's just, I don't get it. What happened to those people that their house just sits there with all their stuff in it? Was there a disaster? Was there a family emergency? Was there a death? And even so, even if any of those things happened, didn't somebody come in and, clean up the house after them? Or why didn't it go for sale? Or, what happened? What made that house have all their stuff in it still in the same place? And it just sits, why didn't somebody live there afterwards? What happened to that home? There's obviously history there. So all those questions are just really interesting to me, how these things come about. But I know who the we were. One of my coworkers and I were joking. There was a house near the coast. Zillow sent him a notice about this home, and it was for rent. I don't remember where it was. It was along the coastline somewhere. I don't even remember if it was in the United States, but it was $199,000 per month to rent this house. And it was, how many bedrooms was it? It was, I think he said 12 bedrooms and 23 bathrooms. And we were joking about it and saying, we could get 23 of our closest friends to rent the house. You can get your family, friends, and everybody split the cost. You could each month. And so we did the math and it came out to like $8,000 per person to rent this place and per month to do it that way, just because we were being silly and killing time. And we were just joking about that. So I'm thinking that must have been the we in my dream, was all these people, because it was a coastal house. It just kind of fits, it kind of fits the story there. But isn't that crazy? Just those thoughts and dreams and things, how that all came together. All right, I think this is where we're done. I'm not sure what this is going to look like, you guys. I'm about as unsure as I ever am. I'm going to kind of get some of these a little thicker. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Let's get out the book, because we always stamp in the stamp book, except that over time, because I haven't been able to stamp, because I didn't have any more rubber stamps to carve, my book is not right here where it's supposed to be. Let's see. Where's my book? Where is my stamping book? Where is my stamping book? All right, well, I'll have to stamp that later. Let's just stamp one of these cards. And, well, I can just flip this card over. I'm not going to flip that card over. I'll get out my book, and we'll do that on the next one, because I don't have it here. All right, let's try it. Here goes nothing. Hopefully it turned out better than I think it did. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's obviously not perfect, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of different, right? It's almost got a tropical vibe to it. There we go. It's okay. I don't think I'll try the Fern again. Maybe I'll practice. I don't know. Something about it. It's just not quite right. And that's all right. Actually, it would still be fun in a background, wouldn't it? Put this here. Something that's kind of subtle in the back. That'd be kind of fun. Sure, why not? This leaf looks like it didn't go quite through. I should have probably extended this one this way. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe I need to do some fern research next time. But for today, this is it. It's interesting. Thanks, you guys, if you made it this far, listening to my story and watching me create this crazy thing. It's different for sure. I hope you like it. I hope you like my story. I am going to be nominating 4 of my friends. I need to nominate 4 of my friends to also do this challenge of what's in a name, or I can't remember what the tag is, but I'm going to be attaching it, and I'm going to be nominating those people in the description box. So I hope that they will participate as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.